G'day, my name's Darryl Webb. Today we're going to have a look at the Infiray tube TH50 version 2. I've had this for a while. Actually, I've had this for 7 months, so I'm just going to call this my 6-month review, so a bit of a long-term review. I'm not going to go over every one of its little specs and whatever. I actually made a video already that had an unboxing, showed all its specifications, and also set up and how to sight it in and whatnot. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the description and an end card, and you can check that out. But for today's videos, I'm going to go over how I feel about it now that I've been using it for 6 months. So I'll go over some of its basic features, and then we'll pretty much get into pros and cons, what it does well, what it doesn't do so well, and so you can have a good idea about if this is the type of scope that you want to buy for yourself. Anyway, on that note, let's come in close and we'll get into the review. Alright, when you get this guy, it obviously comes in this box, and it comes with this neat little pouch, and this is the pouch. I still use this is what it lives in, and it did come with a set of rings, set of standard 35mm rings. I put some quick release style ones now because I use this on a few different firearms, so these aren't the factory rings you get. The factory rings are just fine, these just allow me to swap it quicker to different firearms. It's got an eyepiece on there you can take off. But the basic layout is, it's all pretty much one big piece of aluminium, through the center section. There's a big 50mm lens on here, which gives it that great distance that you can see, 2,600 meters for a human sized target. And that's your focus up there. As you come back to your main tube, you've got a battery cap here. Inside there is an 18500, so you can switch that out. You can hot swap it actually, because it's got two 18650s built into it that it runs on, that are internal, and this one you can just switch out. They give me about 2.5 hours, I'm going to typically say, if I'm using it lots. If it's spending a lot of time just in sleep mode, just where I've got to hit the power button short quickly, it goes into sleep mode, and the battery gives me quite a long time. On this side here is your USB-C, just to explain what these sort of caps sort of look like. They're just nice threading, USB-C with a little light. You can charge it, the internal batteries up like that. It doesn't charge the 18500. You have to charge that in a separate charger. It did actually come with two 18500s. I'll just show you that size. It's just a shorter version of an 18650. It did actually come with two of those, so you don't need to sort of chase up. I think I've got 4 of them now, and that seems to do me. I think I'll leave that off for now. Okay, so basically the basic operation is this wheel up here. So it's a menu wheel and a zoom wheel. If you're not doing anything, you just want to zoom in, you just turn it in, it zooms in, and turn it out, and it zooms out. If you press it once, like a short press, it goes into a quick menu, and if you long press, it goes into more in-depth menu. As we move further back here, sort of not much going on here. There is a little microphone built into the side here. It does have good audio. That has been a godsend for me making videos, because it's got really high quality audio. It's nice and loud, and it's very clear. It does suffer from a bit of wind, so if that's a bit of a problem, you can put a little muff or something over there, glue a little muff around it, use some double-sided tape or something, and that'll improve the wind noise. As for buttons, you've got pretty much a power button, you've got a palette button, you've got a screen brightness button, and you've got a camera button, which short press gives you photo, long press gives you video, start and stop. So it gives you access to those quick things you want to be able to do, but as I said, you can go for the menus quite quickly. At the back here there is a diopter, and it's a nice and easy to get onto, and then you have this little eyepiece, which you can just unscrew to keep it out the way. You're not going to be able to see it because the unit's turned off. One thing I'll say on here, the screen at the back is fantastic. I'll go through just the basic specs so you get an idea. That got him. Good job, straight away off the bat. So basically it's on there, it's the version 2, you have a Bluetooth laser rangefinder you can add on, that's optional, built-in microphone. The rear display is a 2560 by 2560, that display is fantastic. Detection range up to 2,600 metres, and it has a 640 by 512 sensor with a sub-millikelvin net D. So the specs are very high, and that eyepiece is absolutely fantastic. When you look through it, it's round, it looks great, it shows you all the info you need to know, and it's such a clear, such a nice experience. Out of all the thermals I've used, this is by far, it's not a little bit in front of some of the others, it's leaps and bounds in front of some of the others. Basically I said I wouldn't go over the specs, but I'll just go over a couple of them. So we're looking at the 50mm model here. Its base mag is 3.5. Got a detection range of 2,600 metres. I said about the batteries, it's a 18650 replaceable, and it's got 6,600 milliamp hour of inbuilt battery. You can charge it for that obviously, and its weight is 950 grams. So 50 Hz refresh rate. The specs are very, very good on this, and it's very comparable to other flagship models that are currently out. How has the performance been? When you go to a unit that's got like sub 25 millikelvin and 50mm lens and 640 sensor, you expect it to be pretty good, and this is no exception to that. The performance has been fantastic. Out of all the units I've used, this is by far the clearest. It's probably comparable to the Gemini. The Gemini binoculars are actually very, very clear too. Very high quality image. This has been exceptional. In comparison to, say, I use a Finder FH35R with the rangefinder in it, and I use that and I'll spend more hours on that than I do on anything else. The ability to not only see things further, but I can ID things with this a lot further than what I can with a 35mm scanner. So I do find myself often locating something that's maybe out in the paddock. Sometimes there's a fox at like 500 plus metres, and I put this on. You can quite often identify them by how they move, but with this you can actually start to see features in them at quite a far distance. That's really, really surprising, and I would find it hard to go back to not having this unit to help with ID. So performance has been great. Quick little thing, it is an electronic device. Has it ever given me any issues? I have had a couple of little things. Nothing's been drastic. I've been able to rectify them all. The first one is one time I went out to go shooting and the crosshairs had turned off. I'm not sure when I was putting it away if I'd accidentally held certain buttons or something like that, but I'd disabled the crosshairs. And luckily I had a tiny bit of phone service, so I was able to look up and see how to re-enable them. It was just these two buttons or something together, and it turns the crosshairs back on. But I was a bit worried for a bit there. If I hadn't had no phone service, I could have been in some strife, because they don't include a user manual. I'd highly recommend Infiray, if you're listening to this, put a user manual, even just a quick start or maybe just the full thing. It's just worthwhile having. If you don't have a user manual, sometimes we're not in place with phone reception and it can be trouble. But I was able to get around that, and it's only ever happened once after hundreds of uses. How else does it perform? Has it done anything else crazy? I did an update on the firmware, and on its initial reset after it had been working, I found one time I turned it on and it sort of froze. I held the power button on, sort of force turned it off, and turned it back on, it's fine. So it is electronics. These things have their own mind sometimes, even your phone does it to you, but it hasn't been anything major and nothing I'd be concerned about at all. It's not a worry. As I said, for all the times I've turned it on and used it, it's only been a couple of strange little issues, and that's it. So performance wise, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 for what I've used. I haven't used all the devices from all the companies, but I do shoot with other people, and sometimes they've got other brands in high end, and I would say this is on par or very, very close to any flagship model that any of the other brands are doing, is in how it actually performs. So I'm really happy with that. I would love to try the ballistic the rangefinder, and I notice now some other brands are starting to include ballistic calculators in there. Maybe that could be an upgrade for the future, or maybe in a newer model, because if you're using rim fires and air rifles and things like that, you can find that a ballistic calculator can be very handy. It's not a deal breaker, because it's got other features which I'll talk about now. Okay, other features. There is an application for this, an Infiray app. And if you go through there, I actually made a video of this. If you want to see it step by step, I'll put a link in the description for that, and an end card as well, how to set up a custom reticle. And what it allows you to do is you can make a reticle with holdovers just the way you want them. So what I've done, for instance, I use this on a PCP air rifle, I use it on a 17 HMR, and I use it on a 223. If I was using this all the time on, say, the 22, but I have been using it on the .22 air rifle, what I did was I got my ballistic data, and you put in what distance everything's set and the BC of your pellet and what speed, and you work out your holdovers. And then through the app, you make your own holdovers. So you pretty much set in, maybe 2 MOA over. You can change all the settings for what value you want to do it in, but you put all your holdovers in, save it, name it. You can name several of them. You can have them for different firearms, for different calibers, things like that. So then what you do is you save that, you upload it via the app to the thing, and all of a sudden there's now a new option in your reticles, because it's got lots of reticles. All of a sudden you've got a new reticle, and for instance I use it on my 22 PCP, and all of a sudden I've got it set 0 for 40, I've got a holdover for 50, I've got a holdover for 60, I've got a holdover for 70, I think I've got a holdover for 80. You can put as many or as little as you need in there, and it works. So I use my rangefinder at night and I see a rabbit out at 65 metres. I hold it halfway between the 60 and the 70 metre holdover, and bang, you've got connection and you've got that rabbit. So I found that really, really useful, and if I was using lots more small caliber stuff, it's a necessity really, because being able to know your holdovers at different distances is important, especially when it's in the dark, because it's very hard to judge distance. So you need a rangefinder, and this little custom reticle does make up for it not having a ballistic calculator. I know the ballistic calculator's a bit arse, but some of the brands are starting to get there. I'd love to see it. Another feature that I really like is the one-shot zero. It makes it quick and easy to get your zero done and to save it in a profile. When you're in the menus of this, you've got like menu A, menu B, menu C, and then in each, say for instance in A, there's 3 different profiles you can save. So if you're, for instance, using I'll go back to a PCP air rifle. If you're using a PCP air rifle, and you can have it sighted in for different distances, but it also gives you the ability to, say for instance, have a 0 for using certain pellets, and then you might have some slugs you're using for different type of work. So you can also have zeros for different projectiles. Or you can have different guns and hold different calibers, however you want to set it up. So it is very versatile for like that. The way the one-shot zero works, again, there is a video, link in the description if you want to see that, how it all works step by step. But pretty much you set yourself up a target that's suitable for thermal, you fire your shot, you see where your shot is, you hold 2 buttons, it freezes the frame, you move the crosshairs to the shot, and that's it, you're zeroed at that distance. I have had to really fine tune it. It's always so close to being bang on that it's pretty good. So that's made it nice, and holding zero's been good too. I haven't had no troubles where I turn back up and the zero's out. Of course, the fact that I'm taking this from firearm to firearm with this quick release, they're not super expensive quick release rings, but they have been doing the job. Sometimes my zeros may be changed a tiny, might be half an inch to the left or something like that. It hasn't been an issue, I seldom check it. Well, I've seldom had to change it. I do check it regularly. If I go out on a big job, first thing I do is, because I've moved it one gun to another and it's been transported sometimes hundreds of kilometres on corrugated roads, I will check it, and so far it's been holding zero really good, and I haven't had to bother too much about it. The initial setups, it was fine, and the fact that I really like that you can have, for instance, the 223, I've got a couple of different calibers on there. You might have something, you might be using a higher power gun with subsonics and full house loads. You can actually have a couple of different reticles saved, a couple of different points of aim there saved, and you switch between them on the fly, and it's very good, very quick to change, and seems to be very reliable. Pros and cons. Well, we'll start off with some cons. The only one that sort of bothered me a little bit, but it's got a good workaround, is the startup time's quite slow. I'm used to quite often just turning a device off on when I need it. You're sitting back and you're using your thermal scanner, you spot a target coming in, you hop out and you turn the unit on, and they turn on. You want them to turn on pretty quick. The turn on time in this is actually a little bit slow. It's not terrible, but what I have found myself doing is, if you hold this button in for a few seconds, you see it start doing a countdown, and if you let it go, it goes into standby mode. Then all you got to do is press the button quickly and it wakes back up. I thought that would still drain the battery quite heavy, but what I found in real terms is it doesn't use a lot of battery when it's in standby mode. Sometimes I've been out nearly all night and I'm still on my first 18500 from for probably about 4 hours, and then I'll change it and get maybe another 4 hours out of it. So it doesn't use a lot of power in standby mode. And that was probably about it for the cons. Everything else that it's sort of meant to do, everything that's on the box and everything your expectations would be for this unit, it's actually fulfilled it. So one other thing while I think of it, it's not a major one, but for whatever reason, this battery cap, you would have seen it before when I took it off, it's a pain in the backside to get back on. I sort of, when I'm trying to screw it back on, I squeeze it to get it. I think it's just the O-ring seal's so good, it makes like a bit of a pressure pocket, and it doesn't let it get back on. It's definitely not a one-handed job, it's a two-handed job. But that's about it for the cons. That's the only things I could sort of really find that was anything to even mention. Everything else, pretty good. We'll go on to on the pros. Obviously, it's performance. As I said before, the performance is absolutely fantastic. Target recognition is really, really high compared to other things I've used. And straight out thermal power is just, it's up there. I said I have tried, I haven't reviewed, but I have used some friends' other high-end thermals, and this is every bit as good as any of the very high specs, sometimes costing even more money than this guy. It's there, and it's right up there with them, and it does fantastic. I'm very, very happy to use it. Another big pro is that custom reticle. I said it would have been nice if there's ballistic calculators built into it. The fact that this can have a rangefinder. The fact that it can have a rangefinder is a pro for starters, so you can just know your distances. That's very nice to do. I might have to try that one day so I can actually do a bit of review and I'll let you know. But the fact that you can have that on there is good, but the ballistic compensated reticle, you can just dial it in for what you want for different firearms. So you can have a reticle on there that suits your PCP air rifle, maybe your 22 long rifle, your 22 Magnum or something like that, with all its holdovers, and it's saved, and you can just switch between them quickly, and you've got a custom reticle that you lay out exactly how you want. There's not much better than that. Custom reticles is where it's at if you haven't got a ballistic calculator. So that is a big pro. Build quality and everything is fantastic. Massive pro. It's got a bit of weight, as you've seen. It weighs nearly a kilo. It's quite beefy, it's on the firearm, but it definitely gives you the impression of sturdiness. It doesn't feel cheap or junk in any single way. The buttons and layout and everything is nice. The menus are quick and easy to find your way through. And that's a bugbear for me when the menus things don't seem to be where they are. The menus have been well thought out. You can find your way through them quickly. If you need to change profiles quickly, if you're not using the custom reticle, you can change that very fast on the fly, in the field, in the dark, without having to turn lights on. You can do it without thinking about it too hard. It works. So the menus are great. The rear eyepiece, that screen, that leaves all the other models for dead. Everything I've tried, flagship models from other brands that are higher than this even, a lot more expensive than this sometimes, this is better. It's just that eyepiece is absolutely fantastic. Well done, Infiray, and I thoroughly enjoyed using it. I get virtually no eye fatigue on it, and its adjustability and the brightness and just the clarity, it makes the images look fantastic. The images out of this look so much better than the recorded images. It's not funny. It's you pretty much have to put your eye through this and just to really experience the full capacity of what this scope and the quality of the image. I'm going to leave the pros at that because that's probably about it. That's the main big things you guys wanted to know and wanted to see. These are the important ones. There's nothing else made of any notable concern or anything like that. So that's the pros and cons. Conclusion. Well, I'm going to start off by, do I recommend you buy this? I'm not going to say you should buy it, but if I was looking again right now with everything's on the market and I've got a pretty modest budget that can cover quite a wide variety of the scopes that are currently on the market, I would buy this. This is the best bang for the buck, and as far as performance, it's pretty much, they're all very similar. Some have got little bits better than others. For me, I would just buy this. I absolutely love that rear screen, and I love the quality of the image and the identification of targets at further ranges than I thought was possible. So yes, I recommend it. If you're in the market for one, I would definitely check this out. I got this through Ground Force International. I'm going to continue using it, and I've absolutely loved using it. It's really lifted my game on being able to see things through grass and all the advantages that thermal brings compared to night vision. And yeah, so if this is something that you're interested in, and if you're unsure yet, stick this high on your list, because you know then it becomes personal preferences, and it also comes at a pretty sweet price. It's not, by all means, it's not a cheap scope. They're all thermal. Once you're in that 640 sensor, thermals are expensive. Some execute it better than others, and I think they've done a really good job in this one, and I highly recommend it. As I said, if I was looking for one right now, this is the one I would buy. I wouldn't leave. I've looked at others, but I would buy this one again. So this is the scope I like, and I'll continue using it until something better jumps out, and maybe I'll upgrade. But for now, I've been thoroughly impressed with it, and I think you will be too. So, by all means, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't get anything out of you guys buying any of this stuff. I just want to give you a good idea about where it stands in the market, because I know thermal can be very, very confusing sometimes. There's so many different little specs, and you need to know them all and weigh in pros and cons. I found this one with 3.5 base mag, the 640 sensor, the 3.5 times base mag fits in very well with the sub 25 millikelvin. So it's not too wide. It only makes it, you know, no good for things too far, but it's also not too zoomed in. 3.5 seems nice, and it works well for those target identification on small animals like hares and foxes out to a lot further distances than I thought capable. So that's it. I'll put a link in the description to Ground Force International. They've got a whole dealer network across Australia if you're interested in checking these out and studying up. Yeah, as I said, there is videos I've done already on YouTube. I did an unboxing and a full specs and tutorial on how to set it up. I also did a full video on showing you step by step how to set up a custom reticle, which is really good, a big advantage of this scope over some other models, so you can do that. So I'll put links to them in the description, and I'll set them up with the end cards at the end, so they'll appear on your screen shortly. But on that note, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more stuff like this, hit the subscribe button. Anyway, bye for now.